It's time for Go Big Blue with Blue Eagle head football coach Andrew Williams and your host David Jennings. Join us for a recap of last week's game and a preview of this week's matchup as we bring you the latest on Blue Eagle football every Thursday at 8 p.m. throughout the season. We encourage you to comment and take part in the show and show your support for the Blue Eagles. And now, Go Big Blue.
Good evening and welcome to another airing of Go Big Blue. I am David Jennings and I'll be your host for the next hour as we take a look back at last week's exciting opening playoff win against Munford and, of course, preview tomorrow night's game with Alabama Christian Academy. Joining me, as always, and the star of our show, head football coach Andrew Williams. Coach, good to see you again this week.
Glad to be here.
Coach, let's quickly take care of those that take care of us each and every week and recognize the many sponsors who bring Go Big Blue to us on a weekly basis, and that starts with Fred's Department Store, Peggy Booker, the manager, Shara Lawn Care, Michael Shara, Bruton Mill Federal Credit Union, Linda Williamson, Holmes Pest Control, JoJo Holmes, Camp 31, our host site here tonight, Larry Murphy, Horton's Insurance with Keith Horton, Weavers on the Boardwalk, Andrew and Jenny Clark, LA Party Rentals, Dwayne and Amber Graves, Williams Memorial Chapel, Mike and Michael Williams, David's Catfish, Josh Godwin, Timberline Homes, Winston Lindsay, South Alabama Kubota and Rental there in Monroeville, Daniel Sawyer, United Bank, Lauren Yoder, Main Street Urgent Care, Trustmark, Tommy Thompson Trucking, Lucas Tire and Welding, Encore Rehabilitation, and Northside Tire Center with Wesley Finley. Thank you to each of our sponsors who make this program possible. And, Coach, we say it each and every week, and I don't think it can be said enough. Without this support, programs like this wouldn't be available to all the Blue Eagle fans, and I know I speak for you in saying we appreciate that each and every week.
We do. We appreciate all our sponsors and, just everybody that plays a role in the WSN family of supporting, with making this program go. You and Ken, y'all have been, one that's been consistent all year carrying this program, and we just want to thank y'all for y'all support, and that all our sponsors, we just can't say enough about them. And it's plenty more out there. We'll make sure we hit them up for at the end. I'll make sure I make a list. I don't want to be off the top of my head, but there's so many more people that plays a role in this program and, just in the support of our programs at WSN High School.
Going to have a Escambia County School Board member, Kevin Holmes, with us a little bit later to talk about some of that support and some of the excitement that's been around WSNL this year, especially with the football program. And, of course, we want to talk about last week's big win, 27-10 win on the road at Munford. Munford came in the game 9-1, the number one seed there from their region, and the Blue Eagle faithful turned out en masse. Followed the game on the radio, saw a lot of the pictures on Facebook, and I know that it was pleasing to you to come out of the locker room for pregame warm-ups and see so many Blue Eagle fans in attendance. That's a pretty good road trip for round one.
It is, and somebody was talking about it earlier in the week. When our kids see our fans in the stands, when things are not going well, it makes them be able to find their heart and find a way. It takes a lot for a young kid to pick up and be self-motivated to pick it up when times are tough, when they're playing an opponent. But when they see those people in the stands, it makes them kind of feel I got some bagging behind me and support. So, we might be able to find a way, another gear to pick it up a little bit more. So, we're tickled to have our fans in the stands and on their feet cheering. We talked about last week. We need them on their feet as well. And they need to hear them. Cheering them on and supporting them and everything that we do. And we're real tickled to have a good crew that rolled up to Munford, whether we needed that crowd behind us through the course of the game, boys getting down in the game and then having to fight back, and they showed some excitement. It was pretty cold up there, and I know some of them were sort of sitting there stunned for a little while, but, we got to do it. Rain, shine, sleet, or snow. That's what we tell our kids, and, we just need people's support.
Absolutely, and Coach, I know that as a program and as the head coach, you guys have long moved past last week's game. You guys are obviously focusing on round two, but I do want to take a few minutes to go back for the Blue Eagle fans who were not there in attendance and just kind of relive some of those moments. It was a huge win, not only for this year's football team, but obviously for the program. I think the last 2 years, Munford has been the team that's knocked WSNL out of the playoffs, and to go back up there a third year in a row and get that thing done against an outstanding football team. I mean, they are, I think we're ranked number 2 in the state, and to go up there and get that done, just another huge win for your program, another building block in the foundation of what you're trying to get done over there.
Yeah, we talked about we're trying to just lay a foundation right now for where we're going. Our kids believe in what we're doing for the most part of taking them 1 week at a time. And that's what we say to our kids. And, we want them to be open-minded, to not be deaf to what the talk is around town or the talk around this state. But at the end of the day, it's about us doing our jobs and going out competing and giving it their all. The big win in a big-time atmosphere, a playoff-type atmosphere. People think, well, maybe they got down by 12, they were stunned. We wasn't stunned. We just, we had some miscues, those self-inflicting wounds that we talked about. It just played a role in the game. We muffed the punter early on and gave them a short field, and we busted Simon, and they scored. And then we fumbled on the 11-yard line and give it to them, and they punch it in. So those are things that, we got to fight past. We talked about this team reaching a point where we played our best football. I still think, and I still say to them, that we hadn't played our best football as a complete game yet this year. We played some great ball all year, even when we were 0-2, like I said before. We played some pretty good ball at spurts. But I think we're capable, if we can put together a complete game, then I would like to see us at that point. And like I told them, we're going to keep working them and keep them improving, because we can improve all the way across the board. And we'll keep working to try to get to that point where we can put a complete game together and see what happened in all three phases of the game.
You made some great points there, and I want to hit on a couple of those and expand on one or two if we can. And one of the things I've always enjoyed with athletics, whether I've been a part of a team as a player or coaching a team or whatnot, is I like the journey. Like, I can appreciate from where you start to where you're going to end up, and kind of the growing pains you have in there, the life experiences that you get to go through with your teammates, your coaching staff, things of that nature. And one of the things I've seen with your football team, and you've seen it probably more clear than anybody, is early in the year when things went wrong early, you weren't quite ready to overcome that and get it done. And then, of course, things went poorly for you early in the ballgame the other night. Before you get set down good, it's 12-0. And where your guys have come from a maturity level, from a confidence level, understanding we have confidence in our teammates, we have confidence in our coaching staff, we still got time to get this done. I thought that was probably a pretty rewarding experience to see the maturity and the growth. And that's always pretty neat to see in young people.
It is. That's something, this team, I've said it before, we got some resilient guys on this team that's going to fight either way it go. Circumstances occur that cause things to happen the way it happened during the course of a football game. That's part of the nature of this game that we play. The team that's got the character and the resiliency to fight through it and keep coming and have an identity of who we are, to play our style no matter what. We got down 12-0. We didn't open up the floodgates and start tossing the ball all over the place. That's just not who we are. So we have to be who we are and stay in our means of who we are and, do what we do. And I think our guys done that the other night. We've been down a few times this year where we fought through and took the lead a couple times, So, it shows a lot about our guys' character and, their mentality, to keep fighting and keep staying consistent. And that's what we have to do. Like I said, even when things weren't going well early in the year, we try to stay consistent. We came to practice the same way, did the same stuff that we've been doing, pick the intensity up and try to play fast and play physical the entire time. So that's what you have to do. You have to sell who we are and be who you are in the good times and the bad times. Our fans got to be who they are in the good times and the bad times. And we need you more when it's adverse times. But, just like our kids, they need to stick together when the adverse times hit. When they got 12-0 the other night, we have to stick together as a team and be as one and fight through. So, and that's what we did. I was real proud of our guys for that.
I'll tell you something else that has stood out to me, and we've talked about this almost every week on this show, is the demands of your schedule. The teams you've played, the road trips that you've had to make. There's nothing that you're going to face from this point forward that your guys haven't seen. You're not going to face any better players you've already faced. You're not going to face any better teams you've already faced. You certainly mix it up with them. You've had success at different times with all of them. It's a matter of putting it together consistently, playing that complete game like you talked about. But I think those experiences, they just have to serve a purpose for you, especially when you get into playoff football, because there's not that all factor. There's not that deal where you're going to go out and crown anybody, because you have mixed it up with such quality opponents throughout the season.
I'll tell you what, when I was at a smaller school, we used to play those out-of-region, non-region games. We used to play the 4A, 5A schools because we wanted the experience, how tough it was to go through a gauntlet of tough games, so to speak, that experience is nothing like it. You know, you want to experience playing the caliber type teams that we played this year, and you know, get your kids exposed and get them having no respect to people. You know, we want to show up and play no matter who it is. You know, if it's like I've said before, but you know, the main thing is your kids. Nothing like experience. And experience, when you experience situations, your kids will be able to fight through a lot more and get it done, or they won't have it. You know, for you, if they don't have the experience to fight through something, then they don't know how to fight through it when it's time to fight through it, like in the playoffs or whatever. And you know, that's what you know, we basically, like you said, we've been through a gauntlet of a schedule, you know, without a doubt. Most of the teams we play, I mean, you're looking at a team last week with Munford, you know, that was 9-1, and I think they got 21 scored on them and maybe 12. And the rest of the games, they've been had just a touchdown on them or something, you know. So we were able to manage, muster up some points on them. And then, you know, we had a couple other opportunities where we kept the ball from the time of possession was huge for us to keep their offense off the field because they were explosive, you know, for the most part. We contained them and controlled them for the most part. But, yeah, you know, the schedule we play, we had seen some of the tougher people, so to speak. So it kind of, I think it did play a role in that game overall.
I'll tell you something else that I firmly believe in. This is in team sports. I believe in time and overtime, in team sports, the team playing at some point is going to take on the personality of their coach. I just believe that. And I think your team is a testament to you and your coaching staff and y'all's character and the positive pace that y'all set, whether it's in practice, out on the streets, certainly on the game field. And it was a little disappointing, and I'm not throwing the guys under the bus. It was a little disappointing how the other team kind of lost their composure there in the end of the game. But once again, another lesson there to be learned is your guys were able to regain their composure, keep their composure, not get drawn into all the extracurricular stuff that was going in that could have, you know, had your guys disqualified for the second round in the playoffs. And I know that had to be encouraging to you and made you proud also to see your guys handling those tough situations, because as a 16 and 17-year-old, it's not always easy to not strike back. And I thought it spoke very highly and showed very in a class way for your program and your guys. Yeah,
I was very proud of our kids for making great decisions late in that game when it got a little chippy or whatever. You know, we could have easily retaliated on several occasions, and our kids didn't. I was real proud of them for that. Yes, when you get in those kind of games and adversity is tough, we got to learn to persevere through it, and that's what we try to work on. You know, don't get too big for the situation and stay even keel. And it's tough, like you said, being 16, 17, 18-year-old kids. You know, if you know you think something wasn't right or you know something wasn't right, and for you not to retaliate back. But our guys have done a great job of that. You know, knock on the table or wood or whatever. But I was real pleased with our guys for that, and just making great decisions when the chips were down on that game, and knowing how to finish. You know, you have to know how to finish when you finish a game in awkward and emotional situations. But what helped us, we've been in one of those one time before this year.
Sure.
So the experience is nothing like, again, I was glad we had been in that situation before we faced that situation on the night. So that's a great thing, and our kids know how to handle it. You know, and in the past, our freshmen and sophomores, they'll know how to handle it later on, maybe down the road. So again, you know, yes, I was real pleased with our guys when they got chippy down the stretch, and I thought our referees done a pretty decent job of taking control of it and handling it. So, you know, we look forward to the opportunities that we get to finish games, but we need to know how to handle them as well.
Well, I have to ask you this, and I always followed the game on the radio, and LaDon and Terry and Brother Mike did a phenomenal job broadcasting the game. I always enjoyed listening to them, and I thought they might have made a mistake there at the end. I thought I heard them say that you were kicking off from the 15-yard line, and I'm sitting there thinking there's no way you're kicking off from the 15. Never heard of it. Came to find out with all the personal fouls there towards the end that it did get stepped off to the opponent's 15, and my question is, have you ever kicked off from the 15-yard line in your coaching career?
Never kicked off from the 15, but I think it might have been the 30 or something one time before. You know, when the referee told me that we was going to have the ball on the 30-yard line, and then it was going to be another 15-yard penalty with it, and I'm thinking to myself, wow. You know, I mean, that was the first time for that. But one other time, we got pretty close. I think it was like 30. From the 30, we kicked off one time in the past. But, yeah, we were tickled, you know, and that's a 2-touchdown game. And, you know, we were thinking, you know, I knew we actually had the ball on the 15. So, you know, we want our kicker. We can kick a 15-yard field goal for 32 yards. So we went on to kick the ball in the end zone because there was altercations going on already.
Sure.
So I wanted to make sure that our kids not get into another altercation.
Sure.
We wanted to kick it through the end zone and then just let our defense play the game because we had played great defense all year, all game. So we didn't want to try to sweep it on the ground or something, and then they have a chance to pick it up and turn it back for a touchdown or get in another altercation. So
Sure.
we had double incentives of not wanting to kick the ball on our own side or whatever. So kicked it in the end zone and gave it to them on the 20 and made them have to go the distance. And then we had a big play with the pick six with Christian Wood. So yes, that was amazing. Like I said, the referees, they took control of the game, and I was glad they got involved and handled it the right way.
And, Coach, before we move on from this game, I want you to speak, if you will, a little bit about your defensive effort over there the other night. And, of course, the second half of the season, that's been a unit that's been very impressive against some good football teams, some good offensive football teams. You're starting to put up some really, really impressive defensive numbers in terms of total yards allowed, especially rush yards allowed. And I think regardless of what level you play at, if you can win up there on the line of scrimmage and control the running game a little bit, you're always going to be in it. And I know that you've been very proud of those efforts as well.
I have been. Drew Luker and our defensive coaches, man, they've done a great job of putting great plans together. We go in and try to get the best product on the field. We were working that all season, but tribute a lot of times really goes to our kids that's bought into their jobs that they have to do. Playing great defense is what we try to lay our hat at from day one. And, you got to find a way to stop the run at the end of the day. If you can stop the run, you give yourself an opportunity to be successful, And we've sort of controlled these people. We hadn't really just overly stopped it consistently, but we've controlled people with the running game, and that's helped us. And not give up the big play on the pass, And so that's something that we've been stressing to our kids, and they bought in for the most part to what we're selling. And basically having a great plan as well. Drew had a lot on him the other night. We had to put in a few more packages to defend what we were getting because they were doing a great job of run-pass ratio mixture. They were pretty even on that, the run-pass ratio. So we had to do a great job of defending what we need to defend and take care of our business on that side of the football. And our kids, like I said, Cage. He's doing a great job at linebacker for us, playing a lot better football over there. Our DBs are finding themselves back there by not giving up the big play. And, that's what you got to have. You want to control people, you want to bend but don't break and play solid over there. And I'm real tickled that we're playing great defense over there. We've been talking about it all year, stressing it, but we're not just talking about it. We're trying to get ourselves in position to make sure we help ourselves over there.
Well, we appreciate everybody that's watching the broadcast back home. If you're in the immediate listening area, we'd like to personally invite you to come up to Camp 31, get a good bite to eat, and see some friendly faces and get your football fix heading into the big game tomorrow night. Several comments coming in. Tony Burnham, who did the ball game with me over in the Battle of Murder Creek, said that defense is fast and physical. We just spoke to that, and, of course, y'all been playing lights-out defense for the last month, it seems. Charlie Bradley offering a little coaching help here. Coach Williams' numbers 11, 3, and 6. We have to keep an eye on tomorrow night. So I'm sure you've probably seen them on film. All the help starting to come in from the Blue Eagle fans, and we, of course, enjoy all the comments, and we encourage you to like the video, share the video, and let's get as many people in here tonight as we can. And Coach, of all the great things that happened the other night, it's a great night for the community, for the program, for the boys. Obviously, did have one injury. I think Matt Hutchins went down with a concussion of some sort. Going to probably not be available tomorrow night. I know our thoughts and prayers go with him and his family. He's a young man I think a lot of personally. I've known him for most of his life, and even though he's down, you're still going to have to find a way to plug another guy in and keep this thing going. Yeah,
Matt. I've talked to Matt a couple times this week, and main thing is we got to try to give, we want to be the more safety of the kid for the most part. Everybody is different, and concussions, affect people differently. And he's was sort of nagging on with him a little bit earlier in the week and still kind of, sensitive to certain things late in the week. So we just got to hope we can work it out and give him another opportunity to come back next week and give it a shot if the factors factor in what he's able to. So. But, we want to look at the safety of the game for the most part. And Matt's been great for us all year, starting on both sides of the football for us at tight end and at linebacker. So, we got to have the next best man up, so to speak, again. Banged and bruised as we are at this point, which everybody is. But, I think we were banged and bruised way back when. So, but we just got to find the medium that we need to get somebody's got to step up.
Very good. Coach, does the name Nick Norwood mean anything to you?
Yes, unfortunately, it does.
He's on the broadcast. He said that Coach Williams is the best in the world, straight out of Putnam, Alabama.
He's telling the truth. Tell him don't talk too much. He knows those woods that we're from down there. And I got an opportunity to coach Nick Norwood his last year of school. Enjoyed the opportunity. Great kid, and he worked hard and got a great family and everybody down on that end. So I'm glad to see him on.
Thank you for joining us, Nick. Jack and Gene Blackman watching the show for the first time. Welcome. We hope you stay with us the rest of the night and enjoy Go Big Blue. Sharon Crook in as well. Great job, Coach Williams. Patrick Glass watching from Lake Erie, Pennsylvania. So we're now starting to get up in the northern part of the country as well. Antonio Walker. Go Coach Williams. Lyndon misses you. So some more of the home folks chiming in. I know it's always nice to have support from so many friends and family back from your neck of the woods also. Tell you what, Coach, we're going to take a short break. Make sure you stay with us. We come back and have Kevin Holmes here with us for a few minutes, and then we'll come back with Coach Williams towards the tail end of the show and look at a little closer at Alabama Christian Academy. So make sure you stay with us. You're watching Go Big Blue.
WBOSS.
Bossman Radio.
And we are back with Go Big Blue here at Camp 31. Larry Murphy good enough to have us in here throughout the football season. For those of you in the immediate listening area or immediate viewing area, we'd like to personally invite you to come up and catch the second half of the show, get a good bite to eat, see a lot of friendly faces, enjoy the fellowship, and get your football fix heading into tomorrow night's Round 2 playoff game, WSN at Alabama Christian Academy. Joining me now is Escambia County School Board member and WSN alumni Kevin Holmes. Kevin, thank you for taking a few moments to come and visit with us. I know it's been an exciting time around the WSN campus, at this point the football team, but appreciate you taking a few moments to come out and spend with us.
Yeah, absolutely. We were talking about getting something to eat, and by the way, the food is unbelievable. I just had the buffalo chicken and the boom boom chicken.
Boom boom.
And it was booming. So yeah, good to be out and excited.
I've got a couple of questions for you in a couple of different capacities. First, I want to start off with the WSN alum, and it's been a longtime fan, a lifetime fan of WSN, and to see the resurgence in the program, to see the excitement surrounding the program, having a coach like Andrew Williams in and kind of the stamp that he's putting on it. Talk about that, what it does from an excitement standpoint, from a community standpoint, from a support standpoint. If you would, just speak to that for a moment or two.
Yeah, I mean, it means everything. The coach is everything you want in a football coach. He's a good man. He's a good mentor. And, this community is as electric as it's been in a long time. I mean, we were really thirsty for this type of thing. And you felt it the whole year. You felt that we were on a steady incline, and it's really nice to have to. It's great to be in the second round of the playoffs for one thing. I mean, it was a fun trip Friday to Munford, even though it was freezing cold. But it's going to be a fun trip to Montgomery, and the fan base is. We're rabid right now for it, and it's just an exciting time. It's good to be an Eagle right now. I mean, it really is, and I live here, work here, and to see what's happening it's very exciting.
Also, having two young sons in the school system, one will be, I guess, transitioning the varsity program next year, possibly in spring training, if I'm correct. And I know that has to probably double the excitement a little bit, watching yours being in the program coming up and seeing it being on such sound footing, trending in the right direction. I know that's got to be exciting as well. I'm sure he's probably getting excited being a part of something, seeing the games, seeing the excitement, seeing the crowd support, seeing all the good things going on. I would think that would have to add to the experience just a bit also.
No doubt. Both of them are that way. And, I've always said, and really is the reason I got involved anyway, is when you got a dog in the hunt, you tend to fight harder.
Sure.
And, they're excited. My oldest one, he's a little reserved Walker. He's, and he'll move to high school next year. But my other one, Weston, he's just fired up about everything. He's as excited at these WSN football games as any kid in the world. He's pretty pumped up, and it should be.
I want to transition just a little bit and ask you now to put on your administrator hat. You're, of course, one of the Escambia County School Board members. That's a very demanding job. Those of you that do that, I'll tip my hat to you, because that's never an easy gig to be a part of. But from the administration side of it, and I know that you share in the successes at Escambia County High, at Flompton High, this, of course, being where you graduated, where your kids are in school. But I would think, that this is a feather in the cap of the county school board as well, to see a program kind of get a jump start like this and kind of take off like they have in this year. I'm sure that excites you as well as it does the entire board, and you're looking for similar successes across the county as a whole as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And we talked about it tonight. We had a board meeting today, and that was recognized in the meeting, to recognize WSN being in the second round of the playoffs. And, it's just, like you said, it's work that you have to have a love for it, and have to try to want to make differences in things, and like I said, being in the community and the school board in itself. We're aligned to districts, and we want success of the whole system. We're always that is our focus, and. But I live in District 1, and it's basically most of East Bruton and some of the county line areas, and this is where I live, this is where I grew up, and this is where I'm going to be. So it's good to be involved.
I want to hit the rewind button just a little bit. We're going to shift gears once again, hit the rewind button back a couple of weeks ago, the Battle of Murder Creek. That game doesn't need a whole lot of hype, a whole lot of promotion. It's going to be a big one every time those two teams get together. The other night over at Blue Eagle Stadium, I've been to a bunch of them. Was fortunate enough to play in some of them. I don't know that I've ever seen it that rabid on the WSN side of the stadium. And I mean, we talked about it a little before the program started tonight. It seemed like after the band performed at halftime, they certainly did their part in juicing that crowd up. It was like a different animal altogether in the second half, and it was pretty amazing to see. And I'll be honest with you, it had me amped up. I mean, we got pretty excited in the press box just being caught up in the event, but that was kind of what you're looking for. When you're talking about high school football, and you're talking about Friday Night Lights, to me, that was a pretty good picture that got painted, and I thought it represented very well for WSN High School. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, it's to say that they were crunk is an understatement. I mean,
it was lit.
They're something else, and we go, you watch teams from other places and things like that, but you'd be hard pressed to find a better band in this state than WSN Eagles. It's just it's a treat to watch them each time, and I think even Friday in Munford, they got a standing O from their crowd, but back to the game, it's absolutely, it juices you even more. And you're talking about a crowd that was already pretty pumped up.
Yeah.
And you get that on top of it, and it's just sweet.
I'm not gonna let you get out of the seat before you make a prediction on the game tomorrow night. I'm big on getting predictions, and I know WSN is going to travel in full force tomorrow night. What's the score going to be?
Oh goodness! Me and my boys talk about it all the time. We always try to do stuff like that. So of course, I'm going to call for the big Blue Eagle victory. I'm going to go 28-12.
I like it. That works. 28-12. You heard it right there. Right. Kevin Holmes on the record, 28-12.
Yep.
All right. Well, I appreciate you spending some time with us. You didn't have to do it, and you're good enough to, and I appreciate that. And for those of you watching in, make sure you stay with us. We're going to take another short break. We'll be back with Coach Andrew Williams to look a little more closely at Alabama Christian Academy. So make sure you stay with us. You are watching Go Big Blue. And we are back here at Camp 31. Coach Andrew Williams back joining us again. And Coach, big ball game tomorrow. 16 teams left in the playoffs. WSN certainly one of them. Alabama Christian's going to be another. Tomorrow night there'll be 8 left in 4A. Certainly hope WSN is one of those 8 remaining. Tell us a little bit about Alabama Christian. Obviously at this point in the season, every team's a good football team. Tell us a little bit about them and what Blue Eagle fans can expect to see out of them, those that will be attending the game.
Well, one thing for sure, they'll be a confident football team when we get there. Coming off a big upset type win that they had, being on a 3 seed, actually taking a win over a 2 seed, having to find a way to get it done. They're late, and they found a way to get the job done. But this team is very well coached. I noticed that. That's one of the first things I noticed on film from them. They do a great job, within their identity of what they want to do. And they're not going to deviate away from that a whole lot, but they can out-fox you with some other things. Coach Sanford, he was the offensive coordinator there. This is his first year as the head coach there. And one thing about them, they're a type of team that do a good job of setting up the next play. they call a play for the next play, and then they just do a great job with their play calling on the offensive side of the football, and they got a good scheme on what they want to do. They got some smart kids because they're running a combination of things on defense, and it's going to be a great football team that we're going to see. Like I said, very well coached, and like I said, they're going to have a great identity on what they're trying to do. We got to make sure we control the things that we got to control to be successful on all levels. Not only just the offense and defense, but on the special team part of the game as well. They just try to work that out, and your kids going to be headed kids to play in this game for 4 quarters in order to be successful. They got some matchup deals with the quarterback. He's about 6'2". He's just coming back. Last week was his first game back after he missed 3 games at the end of the season with a fractured jaw, from what I understand. And the running back, he's those 2 guys, combination guys, are somebody mentioned earlier. I think Levin, which is the quarterback, and the running back as well, number 3. Those guys are they do a great job of playing well together. And I thought I was pulling one of your notes and my phone went off. But yeah, he's they do a great job together. Combination, their line is about average guys up front, size wise, but they all work well together. You can tell that within the combination of what they're doing. So like I said, we just got to continue to work to do what we do and make sure we don't get out of character within ourselves. We got to make sure we put ourselves in position to control everything that they're throwing at us, and we better be ready to play when we get there.
Angel Blackman, I think, makes a great point here, and we appreciate the post. Angel, WSN is a well-coached football team, too. Thankful for Coach Andro, and I can assure you that's the case. And, Angel, we appreciate the kind comments, and there will be 2 well-coached football teams there tomorrow night, 2 confident football teams there tomorrow night. WSN will not be taking a back seat to anybody, not looking to crown anybody. Your football team's playing well. I know you're looking forward to getting them back out there again tomorrow night. Coach, if you will, speak to matchups just a little bit, both physically and athletically. Is it a good matchup, or there's some favorable matchups for your Blue Eagles tomorrow night?
Somebody asked me that earlier in the week. I said, we ain't matched up with one team all year, and that was homecoming for us, a matchup, realistically. But, again, our guys, they're going to persevere and fight, the entire time, no matter what, what we're running up on for us matchup-wise. We don't get caught up in that size deal. Again, our guys, they fight the entire time up front. Is what the game is won. I've been amazed how we've held up front for the most part. We sort of hit and miss, but we do what we got to do when we got to do it. And the physicality part of it is the angles that we take, and it's sort of deceiving, so to speak, within the physicality part of the game. We try to play fast and play physical up front on both sides of the ball, but it's kind of deceiving within what we're doing scheme-wise. So we can't just be across the board just a physical team. We wouldn't be able to stand up and play at this point because of our preparation before we got here through the off season and all that. We're looking to have a great off season where we can stand up and hold up, the entire bunch as a whole to handle the elements late in the season. Because if you're banging every week against the caliber of people we see on a week-in, week-out basis, what we saw this year, it's hard for your body to hold up.
Sure.
You got to make sure you prepared yourself in the off-season for your body to hold up through the course of it. So we look forward to that. But, these guys have been resilient, like I said before, and they've held up. And I've been real pleased. You have to be specific about what you do during the week, too, on your preparation, for them to be able to hold up.
Sure.
You can't go out there and knock the piss out of each other, 2-3 days a week, in a playoff setting. You can't go out there and you got to let them get their legs up on them, So I've had to make some adjustments on that part. And, again, our guys have found a way to get it done, and they lay it all out on that field on Friday nights.
And that was going to take me to my next question. I know that you love physicality. You're a physical football coach by nature, and you have to balance that with getting your guys to the game as healthy as you can on Friday night. And given the gauntlet that you guys have run and all the banging that y'all have gone through, you do have to make some adjustments during your preparation week to get your guys there. You have to have some physical work to not really lose that edge, so to speak, but you do have to balance it. Has that been a challenge for you and your coaching staff to make sure you get the work, but also make sure those legs are fresh?
It has. We left out there Sunday when we met, and I asked our coaches, what do they think about it? I didn't think we need to go in there and just don't touch a soul. We have to have a look to give our kids a look, you know. So we have to have some kind of physicality. I don't know how much we're getting, but we have to have some kind. I didn't want to go in and just don't touch anybody and play that role in the game, and you know. But you know, as long as we're able to give our kids a look and limit that contact for the most part, we're able to do it. You know, so some of our scout team guys, we're getting better, but Lord have mercy, it's been a task trying to get our scout team guys of figuring out that, you know, we got to practice on a fast speed level like a game like atmosphere. So, and that gets our young guys better too. And this extra practice this weekend have helped us with getting a little bit extra practice for our young guys, and they're coming around. Our scout team guys, they're getting better and better, understanding their role on this team and what they got to do. But that's something that we talked about, you know, just trying to make sure how much physicality we do and the looks that we get, you know, so forth. So, you know, like I said, I've been real pleased with our guys, how they work. Some of the names, Brayson Taylor, he's one that wasn't started. You know, he was starting at one point, not starting at a point. Then he come back and he's starting. It's tough to keep him off the field. You know, he's one that played a little bit on and off last year, and we took it to have him back there on the defensive side, giving us a look in our specialty game. And another guy is Matt, my quarterback. You know, man, Matt has been you know, he seized the moment more and more as we went along and showed some confidence. And he, especially for a guy that didn't even play football last year at all. Sure. I mean, I've been real tickled and pleased with his efforts and the way he's trying to be a leader and step up and lead this football team. And, you know, man, it's just some of those guys, so many guys that have stepped up to the plate and having to find a way to get it done. And, you know, you gotta play the game like you need to play it. I think they bought into what we're selling. And we sort of go from there, man.
And that's been another one of the things that's been very impressive to me with your football team is everybody kind of understanding their role and playing to their role. Your frontliners have certainly stepped up. You've gotten big performances from them down the stretch. But then you have guys who you don't always hear their name. We talked about Noah Hill in the Battle of Murder Creek and the physical presence he was. We talked about the Woods kid over at cornerback. There's a lot of times, you know, offensively speaking, you're going to try to stay away from Jacoby. Well, when you do that, it's going to create opportunities on the other side of the field. Woods had the big pick six last week to kind of put that thing out there where you could win it. We talked about Cade Sims and the presence he's been, the Madden kid as well on the line, and Matt Thomas, certainly one of those. And all those guys, they kind of fit in on that big piece of big puzzle you have out there, and it kind of makes it work. And without those contributions and without those efforts, you would not be having the success that you've had the last month of the football season.
Yeah, it's a collaborative effort, you know, and by no means, like I said, we were successful early on. I mean, I thought we had some good crew, camaraderie of guys working together to get the job done. We just couldn't find that board to get over the hump to finish. And it was a lot of it was I'm not saying the conditioning part of it, but to be able to finish against the caliber teams we were playing, they'll send our team out there one way on both sides of the ball, and then even bring some subs in out there. And we're sort of finding our meaning to play guys one way and having 5 or 6 guys playing both sides of the ball, and just factoring in on it, you know, having to get some bag up some reps and get them, you know, some meaningful reps throughout the course of the week, and then be able to put them in on a Friday night. I just don't believe in putting a kid out there that's not prepped and prepared to withstand the battles of what we're going to see. So it made it tough. It wasn't enough time in the week to get it all in, you know, to get those kids some looks. So again, you know, our kids didn't waver. We found a way to persevere through this thing and try to get it, you know, try to give ourselves a chance down the stretch. This is what this is about right here, to advance 1 week at a time. We talk with our kids about advancing, taking them one game at a time, and you know, it's a privilege to have the opportunity to continue to work and to get better down the stretch and be doing something that a lot of teams, we talked about, you know, there's 16 teams left in the state. After Friday night, there'll be 8 teams left. Yeah. And, you know, if not us, who?
Sure.
If not now, we. You know, are we going to wait it out and say, well, we've done enough? And that's why I tell our kids, we want to make sure we don't get caught up in the talk of the town, or statement called the rat poison, I guess.
Yeah,
you know,
that's right.
We want to make sure we be who we are and do what we got to do on a continuous basis, you know, and try to advance as a team. We don't want to get caught up in the, you know, who's doing this, or what other team is doing that. We're going to control the things we control, which is what we can do to help our team right now.
Well, so many positive things going on inside the program, and you made mention of it at the start of the program tonight.
you haven't played your best football yet. You have not played a complete game yet from start to finish. And knowing that game is out there, I would just think would give you even more reason to be optimistic, because if you play close to that level, or God forbid, you played the perfect game, then what happens? Then all of a sudden you really hit on somebody, you start putting knots on their heads. So knowing that game is still out there and you're still chasing that just has to bode well for your football team as you continue to move forward.
Exactly. I told them we're not going to stop squeezing till we can get every bit up out of them. We want to squeeze it till we can't get anything else out. We know they're potentially able to play better as a team, and it's our job to keep working them and continue to get better to get the best out of these kids that what they're capable of. So we're looking everywhere all around us trying to find the best pieces to put together. But and our kids, we still having kids growing up. That's finding ways to help our team right now, and that's what it's about. We got to keep working. We can't be satisfied with where we're at right now. By no means, we're not satisfied. By no means right now. We got to work to continue to find that void to get it done as a team. And I think we can play better football than what we're playing overall. But we just got to keep putting the pieces of the puzzle together and keep going and being mentally tough, to fight through it.
You made another good point just a moment ago, and you talked about your scout team and the work they get. Those are real reps. And every week you advance, those guys get more work. It almost serves as a mini spring training in terms of what they could be next year as developmental players this year, maybe playing members of the team on the varsity team next year. And those reps they get, and trust me, I've been on that scout team before also. You may not realize it at the time, but you're becoming a better football player.
Exactly.
Taking those reps, getting banged on a little bit. And all that works as part of the process in terms of building the program.
It does. And we try to utilize everybody we have out there on that field one way or another to help us, whether it's special team looks or whatever it is, And those guys, they're getting great reps. And one thing about them, we're talking terminology from us, but some of those formations that we see, our kids will be able to throw them out at us later on. Some of those younger guys that's getting those reps over there, they'll be able to know what we're talking about when we say they lining up like this or whatever the case might be from some of these other teams that we're seeing. Some of this stuff, we run a lot of those kind of formations, so they already know how to line up. And it helps us by them giving us good reps and everything, and they playing their role, to help us out.
Coach, I want to ask you this and get your thoughts on this as well. I remember a long time ago, back when I was playing, always loved and playing in front of the home folks. You kind of had your routine, in terms of how the day played out, how the game came. But I always especially loved going on the road, especially in the playoffs. I mean, it was you treat it as a business trip. You get out there, you go in somebody else's backyard. It's always fun to kind of see the long faces when you go over and kind of shock the world, so to speak. And I get the sense that your guys really embraced that last week, making the trip to North Alabama, the 4-hour bus ride, got up there, looked forward to being there, the excitement that built up to it. I'm sure they're looking forward to going to Montgomery tomorrow. And if you would speak a little bit to that in terms of the mood of the players, how they handle that in terms of getting themselves prepared to handle their emotions and go out and perform.
Well, it's about having a business trip. This is a business trip for the most part. At the end of the day, I think I ought to be able to take these guys anywhere in the state of Alabama and go compete and play. And they know how to handle it. That's something we're still growing on here. Like I said, we're laying the foundation for what we're doing. I had to pull this bunch aside last week, actually, in that Munford game before the game, and trying to talk to them about how to prep for the game. I mean, it was a long trip up there. We had a big open space. We got to know how to handle that. We got to know how to handle if we make a trip and it's a very small, congested place. You just have to handle the elements that are presented to you. But at the end of the day, you're still going to go kick off at 7 o'clock and go play a football game. And, it's the mentality of our older guys, and I talk to our individual senior guys about knowing how to handle that, just laying the foundation for knowing how to handle going into an atmosphere and prepping yourself mentally for a football game. Because, you have to be ready for it, and again, our guys, I think they've bought into what we're selling. I've heard some guys say, let's make sure we're working to get that mentality, so it's coming around, just a little bit at a time. But you have to know how to be prepared. You have to handle all elements that present itself, and you have to be still ready to play the game. So, that's something that we talk to them about so they can prep themselves for it, or they can not be familiar with the situation if it occurs.
Well, Coach, maybe the $1 million question of the night. On the road trip home last week, did AJ stay awake the whole way back, or did he finally cash in and get some shot?
He shut it down, and my wife shut it down as well. So before we could even get back to Montgomery, so I was up by myself on the road. But I mean, I normally be wired on Friday night, so I don't get a whole lot of sleep. And then when we actually got back to where we were going, they went to sleep and I was still up. So it all worked itself out. I had to do some catching up when it's all over.
That's right, and I hope that's in 3 or 4 weeks from now.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Coach, that'll probably wind it up for us here tonight. But once again, it's been a lot of fun. Wish you guys safe travels tomorrow. Of course, the best of luck. I definitely want to be back here next week doing another Go Big Blue. And you guys take care of the Eagles there at Alabama Christian, and we'll do just that next Thursday night.
Appreciate you having us. Appreciate all your support.
Thank you, Coach Williams. Ken James, our executive producer, made sure we got out tonight. Ken, thank you for all you do. Of course, we want to thank all our sponsors again for making Go Big Blue possible. To all the Blue Eagle faithful, get on the road tomorrow. Safe travels and good luck. WSN, Go Big Blue.
Thank you for watching Go Big Blue. Tune in each week as we keep you up to date on the Blue Eagles. Until next week, Go Big Blue.